we are working Psalm 13. Psalm 13 is frequently used in psalm magic for overcoming depression, for overcoming any trial, being protected during a deadly situation, and overcoming anxiety. And I'm going to use it today for those times when you feel like you're up against a wall and it doesn't seem like you have any way of retreating, those desperate types of situations or those hopeless situations. The way we work psalm magic is super simple and super effective. We take the psalm in question and we speak it out loud all the way through once without stopping. And then we go back through that psalm and we consider each verse in turn, and we just dig and search and toil in the soil of our deep mind. And we look for hidden occult meanings within each verse. And we try to apply whatever wisdom we find to the situation that we brought to the psalm. And it's through doing that we are planting those magic seeds of wisdom in the fertile grounds of our mind, where they take root, they grow, they blossom forth, and they bear fruit after their kind. And that is precisely what you and I are going to do together right now with Psalm 13. How long wilt thou forget me, O Lord, forever? How long wilt thou hide thy face from me? How long shall I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart daily? How long shall mine enemy be exalted over me? Consider and hear me, O Lord my God. Lighten mine eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. Lest mine enemy say, I have prevailed against him. And those that trouble me rejoice when I am moved. But I have trusted in thy mercy. My heart shall rejoice in thy salvation. I will sing unto the Lord, because he hath dealt bountifully with me. Of all of the psalms that use this formula of almost blaming God for abandoning us and complaining about our problems and then finding release, this is the most concise and the most to the point. And it's a great psalm anytime you need any kind of turnaround. But today we're talking about those real deadly situations, those dire situations, those hopeless situations. Starting out with addressing the Lord, and we have to always orient ourselves each and every time we come to a psalm so that we are working magically, not religiously. There's nothing wrong with religion, it's just not what we do. We don't believe. We're not having a belief, we're having faith, and that's different. Our faith is based on spiritual principle. Our faith is built on truth. And the truth is that the Lord is a symbol for the one power, the one force, the one source in the entire universe. If you think about Star Wars, may the force be with you, they were alluding to the same idea, that there's only one. There's one mind, there's one power, there's one substance. And one with this power is always a majority, and nothing can go up against it, nothing can thwart it. When we are aligned with this power, we are aligned with all success. Keeping that in mind when we're talking about the Lord, nothing far off away from us, but something that is deep within us. How long wilt thou forget me, O Lord, forever? Right in God's face. This is a very common question in the Psalms. How long? How long? How long? We're not actually asking the infinite to give us a timeline. We are voicing our frustration and our impatience with the fact that nothing seems to be working. What's the deal? What is the deal, God? It's so powerful to be able to voice that, to be able to feel that. And the infinite wants that because that's a breakthrough. Sometimes the very things that are keeping problems in place are emotional. And we have these emotional blocks, and sometimes if we can just break through them and be honest with our feelings, it starts the resolution of our problem. How long wilt thou hide thy face from me? We're accusing the infinite, the one source, the one power of all the universe, of hiding from us. It's as if we feel this infinite force is flowing through and enlivening the entire universe and just completely bypassing us, just going right around us, giving us enough life force to keep our heart beating, but that's it. When it comes to this problem, it says, no, buddy, you're on your own. How long shall I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart daily? Instead of being able to take counsel from the infinite, the only thing that we can do is ruminate over our problem, feeling this sorrow in our heart daily. This is a key to us as to what we need to change in order to make this problem turn around. We don't want to keep counsel in this regard in our own soul. Now, if we were really keeping counsel in our own soul, the way we define soul, that would be different, because the soul doesn't have problems. Nothing bad happens to the soul. So if we were literally taking counsel with our soul, that would be very different. We would find the solution. But what it talks about with soul, it's talking about the habitual mind. And same thing with the heart. Think of knowing something by heart. It's that which is habitual. Am I going to be stuck ruminating over and over about the problem again and never finding a way out of this cyclical thinking? Obviously, the person that wrote the psalm never heard of the off switch technique. But really, that's what this psalm is all about, is we are bringing that up so that we can take heed and understand that part of our responsibility is to shut down that incessant chatter in our mind, to shut down our obsessive thinking with this problem, even though it may be really bad, even though it may be really awful. Giving more juice to it isn't going to help it. So what we want to do is not take counsel with our habitual mind. We don't want to ruminate over this anymore. How long shall mine enemy be exalted over me? As if the infinite's will has been that the enemy be exalted over us. Now, the enemy is whatever the problem is. It may be a person, but it may not be. It may be a bill. It may be a disease. It may be a diagnosis. It may be a relationship problem. It may be a divorce, whatever. Whatever this thing is that you're feeling backed into a corner about, that's the enemy. And it's as if the infinite's willing for us to have this problem, or at least ignoring us while we are asking to be led out of this problem. So after 2 verses of bitching and moaning and complaining at the infinite, now we're starting to change our mind. Consider and hear me, O Lord my God. Lighten my eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. If I don't get this problem solved, it's as if I will die. Now, you may. The problem may be that dire. But even if it's not that dire, it seems that dire. We're asking that the infinite at least help us this time, even though we feel so ignored. Lest my enemies say, I have prevailed against him, and those that trouble me rejoice when I am moved. Now it's almost as if we are taunting the infinite here. Remember, I'm one of your children, infinite. If they're going against me, aren't they kind of going against you too? Doesn't that make you feel like a schmuck, infinite? Lest mine enemies say I have prevailed against him, and those that trouble me rejoice when I am moved. How does that make you feel, infinite? But I have trusted in thy mercy. My heart shall rejoice in thy salvation. There are a few scholars that have a belief that when this psalm was written, there was some sort of oracle that was consulted between verses 4 and 5 that gave hope to the psalmist. I don't come from that point of view. I see this whole psalm as a complete formula in and of itself. We've got to go through the feelings that we're feeling. We've got to go through the anger at the infinite. We've got to go through all of that. We do have to get in its face. We have to allow ourselves that so that we can get it out. We can move off of that. We can get the energy moving, kind of like the 5 of Wands in the tarot. Sometimes you just have to release the stuck energy to get it flowing again. But whatever the reason, here in verse number 5, but I have trusted in thy mercy. My heart shall rejoice in thy salvation. It's all fixed. Whether or not I see the results in the physical quite yet, it's fixed. It's handled. The infinite heard me. The infinite has solved the issue. The infinite has saved me and has shown mercy. Mercy in the Psalms means the solving of whatever the problem is, or the granting of the desire. Whatever you brought to the Psalm, it worked. Understanding that it's worked. In verse number 5, regardless of what our eyes are telling us, it's worked. And we feel that shift. We feel the change viscerally inside, that we'll never be the same again after this. We can see it in our mind's eye. We can feel it in our gut, that I have trusted in thy mercy. My heart shall rejoice in thy salvation. And then it ends with verse 6, I will sing unto the Lord, because he hath dealt bountifully with me. In the Psalms, the symbol of singing is a rejoicing concept, but singing also is vibrations. It's not just singing with your voice, it's singing with your entire being. It's raising your vibrations. And when you raise your vibrations, those higher vibrations disturb the lower vibrations, disturbs the dross. It makes the problem be broken up. It shakes off all of the issue. So whatever this is, you can do your part now by raising your vibrations and sing unto the Lord. Now, when you sing unto the Lord, what you do is you consider the Lord. You consider this force. And instead of allowing this force to be some abstract principle, we consider what the force is. You consider that it's the principle of life itself that's keeping your heart beating. You consider that your soul is a direct extension of this source, like a beam of light from the sun. You consider that you are just like the infinite. If you think about a drop of water from the vast ocean, if you analyze its chemical makeup, it's identical to the rest of the ocean. You're identical to this infinite. And this infinite is spirit, and so are you. This infinite is indestructible, and so are you. This infinite is infinite intelligence. And that same infinite intelligence is your intelligence, meaning that you are a product of genius and therefore are genius in your own right. This is infinite truth, and you are an expression of truth. And whatever is in the presence of truth either reflects that truth or is shined away. Love is the essence of this force. You are a creature of love. The infinite is love, and therefore you're love, because you were created out of love, as love, for the purpose of love. This force is also law. It's infallible law. Just like when you drop something and it falls to the floor, that law, every other spiritual law, even the laws that we don't quite comprehend, are just as infallible. And since those laws are infallible and you are an extension of that law, then this problem is divinely outmatched. So those are the ways that you sing to the Lord, raising your vibration by considering the Lord, considering this force. Because he hath dealt bountifully with me, past tense, it's a done deal. Jesus used to say, thank you, Father, for having heard me, giving praise in advance. It doesn't matter what tradition you follow. That's just Magic 101A. When you recognize that it's a done deal, when you recognize that it's already happened to the point where you're grateful for it already, as if it's happened, it's just a matter of time. And anything that happens at this point forward, you recognize as being the perfect unfolding of your desire. No longer do you judge the events as being good or bad. You say, this is just another link in the chain bringing me to where I need to be. This problem, not only is it divinely outmatched, but it's already been solved. And you've gone through this very succinct formula in the psalm in order to achieve that. And you've done a great job. So you just keep coming back to this same psalm over and over. Once a day is fine. Until you get a sense that all is well. You'll get a sense of peace. You'll get a sense of certainty. Regardless of whether you see any movement in the physical world yet, What matters most is the vibration, and if you get that sense of certainty and peace that all is well, that's an indicator that your spell has been cast, and you don't have to cast it anymore. In fact, you don't even have to think about this thing anymore. You just move on to something else. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Until next time, blessed be.